Niners fans, it's about that time. 3 o'clock. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. And it's a pleasure to be on with the faithful, with the Niner Empire. It's always great to be in front of the best fans in the NFL. How y'all doing today on a Wednesday? A lot of news happened in the last 24 hours concerning the 49ers. And, obviously we're going to talk about that today. I appreciate everyone leaving a thumbs up for the stream. Also, check the IG, check the Twitter. And if you haven't subscribed already on Jay and the Bay YouTube, what are you waiting for? Check me out. Obviously, all fans are welcome. We do cater, though, to the, you see it, the Niner Empire. But, of course, all fans are welcome to join in on the discussion. And shout out to everyone watching from that good old Spotlight Sports Network. Appreciate everyone watching on that channel and also, of course, on the Jay and the Bay YouTube channel. And how's everyone doing today? And this show is nothing, of course, without the fans. And we got to give a shout out to all the fans who are in the comment section. So let's do that first. Damian Lee starts us off. Damian Lee, great supporter of the Jay and the Bay YouTube channel. I look forward to seeing your comments on my videos and on the live streams. It's like Damian says in Florida Evans' voice from Good Times. Damn. What happened to Jeff Wilson Jr.? Yeah, I know, man. It's when I saw the news, I did think, okay, well, here we go again. And it's very unfortunate that, Jeff Wilson Jr., tore the meniscus in his knee, and he will be out for 4 to 6 months. So the latest he'll return would be November. The earliest would be September. But, I definitely feel bad for Jeff Wilson Jr. I'm hoping for a speedy recovery. Definitely feel sorry, for him, his family. But, good thing that Lynch and Shanahan decided to add more players to the running back room. That was definitely an excellent decision by Shanahan and Lynch to add more depth to that running back room because without Wilson Jr. now, we still have Mostert expected to start. We got Trey Sermon, got Gallman, we got Mitchell, and also we have Jermichael Hasty. So running back room still has the players on the field, but shout out to Lynch and Shanahan for making sure we had enough players in that area in the running back room. Let's continue with these comments before we get into the news, the most recent news. 49ers Nation, what's good? Thanks for coming into the stream. How you doing today? Andrew Smith, the first time I've seen you on the chat and on the live stream. So welcome to Jay in the Bay. Appreciate you for coming on. Andrew said, Jimmy said all the right things at the presser class act. I agree. Jimmy looks at the NFL. This is a professional league. Things aren't done necessarily personal. Most of the time, decisions are made, for the betterment of the team. And Jimmy expressed that in the press conference today, and that's definitely something I plan on discussing. But my first piece of news I want to discuss, of course, was the 49ers' latest news, and that was, of course, the injury to Jeff Wilson Jr. Obviously, this is a devastating injury. I think the 49ers will be okay, though, because, Lynch has drafted players. But that's definitely one of the first things I wanted to address was Jeff Wilson Jr.'s injury, out 4 to 6 months. Hopefully he'll come back in November. He'll have fresh legs, and hopefully he can work himself into, the running back room. Damian Lee says, I have a feeling Wayne Gallman and Trey Sermon will outshine the often injured Raheem Mostert. and he will be out the door like Matt Breida next year. Tell me how you really feel, D. Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, when Mostert is healthy, he's definitely one of the best backs in the NFL. I mean, he's perfect for this scheme. Kyle Shanahan's zone run scheme. It's one cut and see you later with Mostert. I don't know if Gallman and Sermon have the burst that Mostert does, but we'll see. I'm eager to see. But I think this, Damian, that Shanahan does not like to use running backs in a bell cow fashion. And bell cow, for those that don't know, is basically a running back who runs the ball 25, 30, 35 times a game. We don't have a running back like that on this roster. Similar to like Derrick Henry for the Titans, we don't have a running back like that on this roster. So I have a feeling that at least 3 to 4 running backs will be up on the active roster for game day, and I think all of them will get playing time for sure. 49ers Ultimate Report, what's good? Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you supporting Jay in the Bay YouTube. I appreciate you. And 49ers Ultimate Report says subscribe to Jay in the Bay. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate all your support. 49ers Nation, what's good? He says, I'm doing great. It was my birthday yesterday. I'm 17 now. Happy birthday, man. Thanks for coming through. And that's crazy. You're 17. I thought you were a little bit older, but I appreciate you coming through, man. Let us know in the chat what you got for your birthday. Let us know in the chat. I appreciate it. Bay Area Baller 18, what's good? I appreciate you coming through today. Looks like he says, I think Trey Sermon is about to ball out. That's what I'm hoping. I can't wait to see Trey Sermon and the other running backs, in preseason, and I can't wait to see what they do. Another piece of news I wanted to discuss was Nick Bosa. So at this week, the training camp, there was about 85, I think it was like 85, 83 players present at the OTAs. And there were 2 players that were missing. That was D Ford, who's obviously been rehabbing his injury. He's had the back injury. And then also it was Nick Bosa. So Nick Bosa has been absent from camp. He's rehabbing in Florida. As we all know, he suffered that terrible torn ACL injury against the New York Jets last season, and he's still rehabbing in Florida. But Kyle Shanahan did say that he is expected to be ready for camp. Nick Bosa, that is. Travis Berg, what's good? Thanks for tuning into the stream. I was on Travis Berg's YouTube channel yesterday. We chopped it up. We talked about football. Excellent YouTube channel. You guys check him out if you haven't heard of him. And me and Travis will definitely be collabing in the future. He's a Raiders fan. I'm a Niners fan, of course. So we'll definitely be going back and forth. Looks like Bay Area Baller 18 is showing 49ers Nation some happy birthday love. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And looks like 49ers Ultimate Report is doing the same thing. All right. Nothing wrong with that. Another piece of news I heard was Weston Richburg. So Weston Richburg, the center for the 49ers, he had pretty good season during the Super Bowl run 2019, but he got hurt and he was out the rest of the year. The following year, he had a setback from that injury, and he missed the entire season last year. And Weston Richburg has informed the 49ers that he will be retiring. That's Weston Richburg. Most likely he will retire past June 1st, and I think he's doing that to help the 49ers salary cap situation. So wish the best for Weston Richburg in retirement, and, take it easy. You've earned it. Travis Berg also gives happy birthday wish to 49ers Nation. He says, hope you're able to celebrate. And 49ers Nation says, appreciate you guys. All right. And 49ers Nation says he's going to celebrate on Sunday. Yeah, have fun, man. And looks like Travis says, Travis thinks Wayne Gallman is 50-50. You never know what type of game he's going to have. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how he does in this running scheme. We'll see how he does behind this offensive line, and we'll see how he adjusts to NFL defensive players. There definitely is an adjustment If I had to say, running back was probably one of the more easier transitions coming from college to the NFL. Because all you got to do is really learn the scheme, and you're doing the same thing that you were basically doing in college. You're just running the ball, and we've seen a lot of rookie running backs come into the NFL and play pretty well, win Rookie of the Year, and have pretty dominant rookie seasons. So, but I have a feeling we're going to be using multiple backs in this system. We're not going to be relying on one running back to have the bulk of the carries. I think it'll be Gallman, it'll be Mostert, I think it'll be Sermon, could be Mitchell and Hasty. We'll see. One of those running backs will probably be on practice squad, but I have a feeling 3 or 4 running backs will be up on game day, and a lot of those running backs will get touches. Yeah, and congratulations to 49ers Nation. You're going to be a senior in a few weeks. That's dope. Man, that's crazy. And Arden54 also gives a huge birthday shout out to 49ers Nation. Make sure you have blessed fun. Absolutely. And another piece of news that came out was Jalen Hurd. Expectations are really high for Jalen Hurd. Obviously, he was drafted with the 49ers 2 years ago, and unfortunately, he suffered back-to-back injury-filled seasons, and he hasn't played a down for the 49ers. The first year, he had the back injury. The second year, Jalen Hurd had the torn ACL. If he was healthy, Jalen Hurd, I think he would definitely be, winning that third wide receiver position. But since he's not healthy, he's been rehabbing his ACL injury. And Kyle Shanahan did say that he should be ready by training camp. So I'm definitely looking forward to see what Jalen Hurd can bring to the table, because I think there's a lot of uncertainty once we get past the Ayuk show. When we get past Ayuk, Debo, and Kittle, I think there's uncertainty at the wide receiver position. And, Hurd could solidify that. Austin Walter could solidify that. I don't know what else is left from Travis Benjamin and Mohamed Sanu. There's also Juwan Jennings, but he's been hurt as well. So we'll see what happens with Jalen Hurd. Brandon the King, what's good? I appreciate you for supporting Jay in the Bay YouTube, man. I appreciate you. He says, yo, what's up, Jay in the Bay? I ordered my Lance jersey a couple days ago, and I'm so happy because it arrives on my graduation day. Also, road to 1K. Let's get it. I appreciate you for coming through. And, yeah, I can't wait to order my first piece of new 49ers memorabilia as well. I definitely got to get something that says, the 71st anniversary patch. I definitely want to get something that has that patch on it. But yeah, man, thanks for supporting me, and good luck in your future, man. Good luck. The fun has just begun for you, man. Matt Navarro, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Thanks for supporting Jay in the Bay. And 49ers Nation gives a thank you to Harden54. Looks like Travis Berg says August 29th, preseason game, Raiders versus Niners. That's going to be an interesting game, man. I think that game's going to be in Santa Clara, but I can't wait till the Niners play the Raiders in Vegas. That's definitely a game I definitely want to go to. I love going to Vegas, and that'd be cool. I haven't seen the Niners play in a different stadium outside of Santa Clara and Candlestick, so that will be a good game. And I'm definitely looking forward to the preseason games this year, because I want to see what Trey Lance has to offer going up against the NFL defense. And I'm definitely looking forward to that. There are 2 more pieces of news I wanted to share with you guys. Something I noticed, I was trying to put a picture up on StreamYard, but it's something I got to work on. But the 49ers, they're implementing their offensive and defensive line wear extra padding on their helmets to help prevent concussions. Now, this is something I had never seen before. I saw a picture and I was like, what is that on their helmets? But I think it's definitely a great idea that all NFL teams should implement, putting padding on helmets, not only just the offensive and defensive line. I think all players should wear it, and it would, help prevent concussions. So I think that's definitely a good idea that the Niners have implemented that. And hopefully all players, especially during contact drills, hopefully all players will wear that. But I thought, that's kudos, big ups to the Niners for implementing that, because I haven't seen any other team have their players wear extra padding on their helmet. So shout out to the Niners for doing that. Andrew Smith says, Jay, do you think the 49ers will re-sign Sherm? I mean, at this point, no, I don't think so. No doubt Sherm is a Hall of Fame player. He's battled injuries. He had the torn Achilles. Then he had the calf injury last year. He missed most of last year. Unfortunately, with Sherm, he can't cover, the best receivers in man coverage anymore. In zone coverage, Richard Sherman is a beast. He's very smart, very cerebral on the field. He's like a coach on the field. He's very physical. He can tackle. But in man coverage, he leaves a little bit to be desired. Richard Sherman, that is. So I don't think Richard Sherman will be back with the Niners. I'm intrigued to see if Richard Sherman will transition to safety. Safety would be a position that a lot of corners, when they get up in age, they transition to the safety position. And I think that could be a good move for Richard Sherman. But I'm intrigued to see where Sherman ends up. That's for sure. Steven, what's good? Thanks for supporting Jay in the Bay YouTube channel. How you doing today, man? Let me know in them comments. Another piece of news I want to bring up, one of the players who struggled last year was Mike McGlinchey. There's no doubt he's a mauler when we want to run the ball. There's no doubt he's an excellent run blocking offensive lineman, but in pass blocking, last year was definitely not one of his best seasons. He definitely struggled against edge rushers. And I saw a photo of him in OTAs today, and it looked like he put on some weight. And that was one head-scratching thing last year, that he came into camp kind of underweight, like he looked like a tight end. So I don't know if the Niners told him, hey, you need to gain weight, or Mike McGlinchey took it upon himself to gain weight, but looks like he put on more weight, Mike McGlinchey, and hopefully, this will help him in pass blocking situations against, because in the NFC West, there is no easy opponents in the NFC West. He's going to be going up against Leonard Floyd, Chandler Jones, J.J. Watt, Carlos Hyder, and Kerry Hyder and Carlos Dunlap in Seattle. So there are no easy games in the NFC West, and hopefully Mike McGlinchey has a bounce back season this year. Matt says, sucks Wilson Jr. would be missing 4 to 6 months. Was really hoping to see him play. Yeah, it's very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate that he got hurt. He's going to have surgery. It's a 4 to 6 month recovery. So at the earliest, he would come back in September. But if I was the Niners, I would not rush him back, especially when we have 4 or 5 other running backs who are solid, who are pretty good. So it seems like at the latest it would be November, and then he would have to be worked into the rotation. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully he can come back in November, December. He'll have fresh legs, and hopefully he can contribute in some fashion when he comes back. Trash Talk Sports, what's good? I appreciate you coming on today. How you doing? And he says, what's good, Jay? Keep up the great work. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Doink Productions, what's good? I see you. He says, Chiefs just hired Katie Sowers. All right, that's good. I'm not sure why the 49ers and Katie parted ways. For those that don't know, Katie Sowers is a woman. She was a woman coach on the 49ers staff. I'm not sure why she didn't get re-signed with her contract, but good to see that she's still in the NFL, and good to see that she's, still, following her passion, which clearly is coaching. So that's good that she got another opportunity with the Kansas City Chiefs. Matt says Sherman ain't coming back. He wants too much money, and we need some of that money to re-sign Warner. Yeah, and I think even if Sherman would come back for vet minimum or something like that, I just feel like the Niners have moved in a different direction. Not only re-signing Emmanuel Mosley, re-signing Jason Verrett, re-signing K'Wan Williams. Also, we made investments in the draft. It's important that the young corners get playing time, especially in the preseason. I'm sure they'll be worked in the regular season. And there's no doubt Sherman would definitely help the young guys, but also he would take playing time away from them. And that's time that the young guys need to develop, because there's a possibility that the two young corners we got in the draft, they could potentially be starting next year, because Verrett's on a 1-year deal. K'Wan Williams is on a 1-year deal. Emmanuel Mosley, he's the only corner right now who's on a 2-year deal. That's not a rookie. So, the young corners, they definitely need time to develop, and you only really get better by playing. Let's see. It's like Damian says, Damian says we don't need Grandpa Sherm, but we should get Justin Houston. Yeah, I agree with you. Justin Houston would definitely be an asset to the 49ers. He's been a durable player. Last 2 years he spent with the Colts. He's had about, I think, 16 to 18 sacks total for the last 2 seasons, and he's played every game. So he would definitely be an asset. I don't understand why Justin Houston is still on the free agent market unless he wants a certain dollar amount, and teams don't have the cap space to pay him what he wants. But yeah, I would definitely take Justin Houston right now. And one other thing I want to get into was the Kyle Shanahan press conference. So Kyle Shanahan was in a press conference, and shortly after that, Kittle was there, Fred Warner, and George Kittle. So those were the 4 members of the 49ers that were at the press conference. And Kyle was asked specifically about Fred Warner in one of the questions. And he said that Fred Warner will be a 49er for a very long time. I got the impression that it's not a matter of if the 49ers will re-sign Fred Warner, it's a matter of when. I think Fred Warner has definitely proved that he is, the best middle linebacker in the NFL. At the bare minimum, he's definitely the best defensive player on our team. And we definitely need to re-sign him. But Shanahan said, that's up to John Lynch, but, he can envision Fred Warner in red and gold for years to come. Elks Chronicles, what's good? Haven't heard from you from a minute, man. I appreciate you coming through. He says prayers to Jeff Wilson Jr. Elijah Mitchell is one step closer to being a key piece. Yeah, I mean, Elijah Mitchell is very fast. He ran a 4.3 40 coming out of college. And, if he makes the 53-man roster, he could definitely be an impact, maybe even on special teams, or he could be like a third down running back. But we'll see, because the running back room is definitely crowded. But I appreciate you coming through, Kelts. Hopefully you are enjoying the stream. Kyle Shanahan in the press conference was also asked about Dee Ford. And Kyle Shanahan said that Dee Ford has been rehabbing his injury. He's got the back injury since February of this year at the 49ers facility. Shanahan expects Ford to return to camp in a few weeks. And, hopefully Ford will participate in the training camp. And I don't expect much from Dee Ford at this point. I don't think Dee Ford will be an every down edge rusher. I think hopefully we can use him as a third down, like edge rusher in obvious passing situations, like 3rd and 7 or more, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. Hopefully Dee Ford could come in, contribute, and try to get some pressure on the quarterback. But I definitely don't feel like Dee Ford is an everyday pass rusher. And I think the Niners have made signings that kind of prove that, like with Arden Key, with Samson Bukum. And so we've made signings at the edge rushing position. So we'll see what Dee Ford brings to the table. Looks like D says Damien says we don't need Uncle Julio either. We need to get younger. I will pull out the Brinks truck for Odell. Now, if you say we don't need Julio, I would agree. We don't need Julio. It would be nice to have Julio, and it would be very nice because if Ayuk, Debo, or Kittle, if one of those 3 gets hurt, I feel like the passing attack is in trouble. And it's in trouble because we don't have a bona fide veteran player who's done it at the highest level before at that wide receiver spot behind, Ayuk, Debo, and Kittle. So we're asking a lot for those three players to be healthy all 17 games this year. And I think we definitely need to get another playmaker at that wide receiver spot. And I say that because there's a lot of uncertainty. Austin Walter, we don't know anything about. He's an undrafted free agent. Juwan Jennings been hurt. Jalen Hurts been hurt. What do Travis Benjamin and what do Mohamed Sanu have left? So those five wide receivers, there's just a lot of uncertainty. But I would be down to get Odell. Odell Beckham, no doubt, Damien. He's a younger receiver. He's battled injuries as well as Julio. Actually, Odell has probably missed more time than Julio in the last few years. But Odell has a better team-friendly contract, only 1 year guarantee left of his 3-year contract. But we don't know if the Browns want to trade Odell. I haven't heard anything that the Browns are interested in trading Odell. But we'll see what happens. I appreciate your comments. Steven says, one good thing about preseason for the Titans fans is that the Titans get to have a joint practice with the Super Bowl champions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right. Now that's good. I mean, you get to practice with, the Super Bowl champions. So that can only make the Tennessee Titans better. Kyle Shanahan also said in his presser that, and this was actually in regards, Damon, this was actually in regards to Julio Jones. Kyle Shanahan can't necessarily say we want Julio Jones. We're going to trade for Julio Jones. He can't say that due to tampering rules in the NFL. But Kyle Shanahan did say that we are never done improving the team. There's nothing stopping the Niners from getting better at any position, except for the salary cap, of course. But they're always looking better to add talent to the team. Shanahan was asked by a reporter in regards to Jimmy G. That's my quarterback. So he said about Jimmy G looks great. It seems like Jimmy G is definitely totally healed from that ankle injury that ended his season last year. And I noticed that Jimmy G was not wearing his knee brace. And he wore the knee brace due to tearing his ACL. So that could be a sign that Jimmy G, is more confident in his body. He has more mobility. And I think that's a good thing when used appropriately. Let's see. Doink Productions says at Damien, bet you thought Randy Moss was old and bad too. Interesting. Yeah, Randy Moss came over to the Niners. He played solid. He played solid with the Niners. 49ers Ultimate Report says that pad on helmet looks funny, but the brain health is important. Yeah, John Jay, when I first saw that, I was like, what is that? Like, if you haven't seen it, I posted it on my IG, Jay in the Bay. I posted that on my IG. It's a picture of the offensive and defensive linemen. They had like these padded helmets, and it looks so weird. But I mean, it protects your brain. That's your most important muscle. So I'm surprised more teams haven't done this, but I'm clapping. I'm clapping for the 49ers for, trying out, this new initiative to, it's important to protect the brain. And yeah, it looks funny, but it's very important. And hopefully other teams do this as well. Looks like Matt says, I'm pretty sure Sherman wants 2 years plus a lot of money on his deal since he said he will be playing 2 more seasons in the NFL. Yeah, at this stage of Sherman's career, I think that's probably asking too much. I just don't see a team giving him, a 2-year deal. I would say a 1-year deal with incentives, because I just don't, I don't think, unfortunately, at this level of Sherman's career, he's just not that guy anymore at the cornerback spot. Sad to say it, but he's lost a few steps. In zone coverage, he's excellent, but man, he's just, unfortunately, he's not that guy anymore. Now, another player who was at the presser was Jimmy G. And Jimmy G was asked about his mindset this past offseason. And Jimmy said that he wanted to focus on being a better quarterback. And first, he wanted to get his body healthy. And he did admit, Jimmy G did admit that he bulked up a little bit in the offseason. So, maybe that helps him, I don't know if it necessarily helps him play better. It could, but at least maybe he'll be healthier. And one thing I love about when Jimmy speaks is it's all a profession. The NFL is a profession. He's not looking at this as like when we drafted Trey Lance, you know, he knows that this is a business. He knows that there's a reason why we drafted Trey Lance is because of the inability for Jimmy G to stay healthy. He understands that. And Jimmy G has been in a situation when he was drafted by the New England Patriots. He sat behind Tom Brady, and he understands what it's like to be behind a starter, and you could potentially take his job. And that's why Tom Brady wanted Jimmy G to be traded, and eventually, Jimmy G was traded to the 49ers. Let's see. Matt Navarro says, okay, we already read that. Let's see. Travis Berg says, Steven, good to see you again, bro. Let's see. Damian says, I would get Randy. He was a unique top talent. Oh, that's true. Definitely. Randy Moss was definitely unique. Bengals report. What's good? I appreciate you supporting Jay and the Bay YouTube channel. Good luck to your Bengals this year. Let's see. Matt Navarro says, we want him fully recovered. We don't want him to put pressure on his meniscus. Yeah, and you're talking about Jeff Wilson Jr. Exactly. That's why I would say to bring him back, take your time with him, bring him back. Obviously, I would say at the earliest, bring him back November, unless he's shown, earlier that he can, unless he shows in September, October that he's ready. But we have a lot of backs already in the running back room. So I would say no pressure to bring him back fast. Just take your time, rehab. Don't come back until you're 100%, because we could definitely use Jeff Wilson Jr. and his fresh legs, in November and December, because there will be a tight race to win the NFC West division, and we can definitely use Jeff Wilson, in the last 7 to 8 games of the season. Also, Jimmy mentioned that his ankle is 100%. So his ankle feels good. There will be no limitations on his ankle. And Grant Cohen actually asked him this question about his knee brace, because Jimmy Garoppolo was not wearing his knee brace, and he had been wearing it basically for the last 2 seasons. Jimmy said that the knee brace will come and go. And in OTAs, he's been shown not to wear his knee brace, Jimmy G. So that's good. That means he's more comfortable with his knee. With the torn ACL, players can come back from 1 year, but it really takes about 2 years to fully recover from that. Some players is sooner, but with Jimmy G, I guess it took about 2 years. And we'll see if he plays with that knee brace, in the regular season games. 49ers Ultimate Report says Katie Sauer, she wanted out of the Niners. Don't know why that team and her relationship happened for her to want out. Yeah, I'm not sure why she wanted out. Actually, I mean, I don't want to bring this up, but I did hear a rumor about, I guess you could say, how she was treated with the Niners. And if you're more interested in that, go Google it. I don't know if it's true or not, but that could be a reason she wanted out. But if you're more interested in that, go ahead, Google it. I'm sure it's out on the internet. But hopefully, Katie, I'm glad she got another opportunity with the Kansas City Chiefs, and I wish her well in her NFL coaching career. Enjoy my world. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. I appreciate you for supporting Jay and the Bay YouTube. Looks like 49ers Nation says, do you think Trey will win Rookie of the Year if he starts week 1? I say yes. If he starts week 1 and he's better than Jimmy G in camp, yeah, I say he's got a pretty good chance. Yeah. I would say he's got a pretty good chance to win Rookie of the Year. Definitely. Now, Jimmy G was asked about being critiqued about the lack of health, about the lack of availability with the 49ers. And Jimmy said that, he uses it as fuel. The critics who criticize him say, hey, you can't stay healthy. he uses that and he loves to prove people wrong. And he also uses that to push himself. So, of course, it's hard to block out all the noise. I mean, obviously, he knows that he hasn't been healthy. He's been hurt more than he's been healthy for the 49ers. But a lot is riding on this season, not only for the Niners, but also with Jimmy G. And looks like Damien says, what happened with Katie Sowers? You got to go Google it, man. Bengals report. Trey Sermon is a beast. Watched him last year at Ohio State. Super talented running back. Went for over 300 rushing yards against Northwestern. Yeah. So I was surprised. Bengals report. I can't lie. Like, I was surprised that we went after a running back that high in the draft, because I definitely thought we would get a corner, high within the draft, like in the second round, I thought. But obviously Lynch saw great value in getting Trey Sermon in the third round, and I can't wait to see what he can do. That's why I'm super excited for the preseason. I can't wait to see what Trey Lance does, Trey Sermon, and also all the other rookie players, the offensive linemen as well. So we got a nice influx of young talent, and I can't wait to see how they perform on the field. Enjoy my world. Julio said, I'm done with them. Julio said, I'm done with them ATL Falcons. Well, I mean, y'all did leave him, Julio, off of the marketing materials for the upcoming season. So clearly, either, I don't know if this is true, either Julio told Atlanta Falcons, I want out, like, months ago. But if that's true, I don't understand why Atlanta didn't trade him for picks in this year's draft. Like, I don't understand. It's either that's the case or Atlanta Falcons management just want to get rid of that salary. It's either one or the two. Either Julio informed them, I want to be traded. I don't understand why the Falcons didn't trade him at that point, or the Falcons just want to get rid of that salary. And Julio is just like, well, if they want to trade me, then just trade me. He doesn't want to be somewhere where he's not wanted. So, but that's totally respectable. I understand that. Matt Navarro says, looks like the Ravens and the Patriots are favorites to land Julio Jones. Yeah, I have a hard time believing the Falcons will trade Julio Jones to an NFC West, or excuse me, the NFC conference team. I have a hard time believing that. So most likely, yeah, if the Falcons trade Julio, it'll be to a team in the AFC. That makes most sense, Yeah, the Ravens could definitely use Julio. Also, the Patriots as well. I heard that Julio was interested in going to the New England Patriots. So I'm eager to see, how this plays out. Now, someone else who was at the presser, was George Kittle. He came into the presser with a lot of enthusiasm, big smile on his face. It looked like he was happy to be there. He was asked, George Kittle was, about Jimmy G. How did Jimmy G look with the few throws that he threw to George Kittle? And George Kittle said that Jimmy G was slinging the ball around the yard. He still has that nice touch and a firm pass. So that's obviously good to hear from a 49ers perspective. It's been a while since we've seen Jimmy G. And it's good to hear that he still can throw that rock. George Kittle was also asked about why he and the other 85 players went to OTAs. Kittle said, we go to OTAs to get better, to bond as a team. That's that's always very important. And also, to build that camaraderie. You have to be around each other. You have to bond with each other, and you do that by being together. And that's one thing that our rookies were not able to do last year. Last year was definitely a different offseason. There were no OTAs, there were no preseason games due to COVID. So I'm looking forward to see what the rookies from last year, how can Ayuk get better? How can Javon Kinlaw get better with the regular OTA season? So yeah, I'm definitely eager for that. Looks like Damien says that Julio is going to team up with Lamar. I told you so. We'll see. We'll see. Obviously, I want Julio on the Niners, but I'll be happy with Julio or OBJ. But yeah, I can't wait to see how this plays out and what type of compensation the team receiving Julio gives up. Because there's no way the Falcons are getting a first round pick. I just don't see it. I don't see the Falcons getting a first round pick for Julio. Would you guys give up a first round pick for Julio? 3 years left on his contract. He's a little bit older. I don't think, he warrants a first round pick. Maybe a second pick. Kittle was asked about the other tight ends in the tight end room by a reporter. And I didn't know this, but George Kittle was working out with the other tight ends, Warner and Helm. And they were training with Kittle in the offseason in Nashville. So that's cool. That's something I didn't know. That's good that they're working together. And obviously, you can always learn from the best tight end in the NFL. So I'm eager to see what those two rookie tight ends do. Matt Navarro says Julio Jones on the Ravens would be lethal. Yeah, I would agree. If Lamar can get him the ball, that's the biggest question mark with Lamar. Obviously, exceptional athlete. He can do a lot of things at the quarterback position. He could be more accurate. He could play better in bigger moments. But with Julio, that would definitely give him another weapon on the outside. And their offense would definitely step up another level. That's for sure. Looks like Damian Lee says, looks like he doesn't agree. He says, not really. As long as Greg Roman is the offensive coordinator, I remember how he was with Colin. Teams are catching on to Lamar. Yeah, and I think it doesn't help with Lamar that I just feel like, I don't know how you guys feel, but he's just not as accurate with the football as I think he should be at the quarterback level. And it seems like in the playoffs, he struggles or, teams are able to figure out what he wants to do. And, he just doesn't – he has won one playoff game last year, which is great. But, yeah, I just want to see more from Lamar. Obviously he's exceptional at the quarterback position, but I think he could be more accurate with the football. I don't think that's asking too much. Looks like Steven says Titans have 4 players trying to get Julio Jones on board. Yeah, I heard about that. I heard AJ Brown left Julio a voicemail or something like that, trying to get him onto the Titans. That would be, Julio on the Titans. That would be nice because they already got AJ Brown, they got Derrick Henry, they got Tannehill, so that would definitely make their offense better. Let's see. Let's get it, GA. What's good? Appreciate you coming through. How you doing? Let's see. OYG says, which press conference we talking about? Man, I ain't kept up with anything, but I hear Jimmy G is doing great in practice. No interceptions. Big up to Lance for show. So, yeah, there was a press conference yesterday. And basically the 49ers are having OTAs. They have about 85 players present. And Kyle Shanahan led the press conference, followed by I think it was Jimmy G, then George Kittle, and then Fred Warner. So I was just talking about, things that stood out to me from what, Shanahan and the rest of the players said. The last player that came on was Fred Warner. And of course, the first question to Fred Warner was about, his impending free agency with the Niners, because Fred Warner's in the last year of his contract. And, Fred Warner basically said, it's out of my hands at this point. All he can do is focus on becoming a better player. And, his representation will handle that. But Fred Warner did say that he wants to be a 49er for life. So that's definitely good to hear. And I don't think it's a matter of if the 49ers will re-sign Fred Warner. I think it's just a matter of when. And I can't wait to see Fred Warner put pen to contract and re-sign for at least another 4 to 5 years with the Niners. Let's see. OYG says Grant Cohen live right now talking about Talanoa Hufanga. I believe he will do great. Lynch with his safeties. Yep. John Lynch was definitely an excellent safety with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, won a Super Bowl. John Lynch is a Hall of Fame player. And, we'll see what Talanoa Hufanga brings to the table. I don't think he'll start necessarily this year, but he could definitely, maybe he could start off on special teams. I'm eager to see how D'Amico Ryans, our defensive coordinator, uses Hufanga. And we'll get a chance to see Hufanga and the rest of the rookies in the preseason. And that's why I'm so excited to see the preseason and see what the players bring to the table. Now, Fred was also asked, of course, he was asked about the contract negotiations, but he says he's focused on this season and becoming a better player. Fred Warner was also asked about D'Amico Ryans, and he loves D'Amico Ryans. He's a fiery, passionate coach. For those that don't know, D'Amico Ryans has been Fred Warner's linebacker coach his entire time in the NFL. So Fred Warner, was obviously drafted by the Niners 2018 out of BYU. And when he was drafted, D'Amico Ryans was the linebacker coach. So obviously D'Amico and Fred have a great relationship. And I'm eager to see how D'Amico Ryans will do as a defensive coordinator for the Niners. He's following a great defensive coordinator in Robert Saleh. And shout out to Robert Saleh with the New York Jets. Hopefully he does well. But he's following one man, Robert Saleh, who did an excellent job as a defensive coordinator for the Niners. And we'll see how he does. Obviously D'Amico knows the scheme. And we'll see how he is as a play caller, because I think that just takes time. Knowing what to call, zone, man, when should I blitz, when should I have 8 defensive players in coverage, what do I do on third and short, like things like that. So decision making like that takes time. So I'm happy to see D'Amico Ryans, and I'm eager to see how he performs. 49ers Ultimate Report says, your thoughts on Julio Jones has the biggest odds to go to the Patriots or the Chargers? I mean, if I were the Falcons, from a Falcons perspective, if I put myself in the Falcons' shoes, I just want to trade him probably to an AFC team and whatever most compensation I can get. So if that's a number of draft picks, if that's a first-round pick, if I can get it. But, man, Julio and the Chargers, I mean, I already think the Chargers offense is pretty good, especially with Herbert at quarterback. They got a good running game. They got Keenan Allen. I don't think they don't have Hunter Henry anymore. I think he got signed to the Patriots. I think Hunter Henry. He used to be on the Chargers, but I think Hunter Henry signed with the Patriots. I think. Let me know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the Chargers got an excellent offense, and they could definitely use Julio Jones. And then if he went to the Patriots, that'd be good. They would have Kendrick Bourne, Aguilar, Jones. So, and Bill Belichick has known to make some trades. So he did have Randy Moss for a few seasons. Alejandro, what's good? First time I seen you in here. Hope you're enjoying Jay in the Bay. Shout out to everyone watching on that good old Spotlight Sports Network. He says, did you hear that Julio Jones went to the 49ers? I did not hear that, Alejandro. Let's see. Shanti Uber, what's good? Appreciate you coming through to the stream. Hope you're enjoying the show. The Yeet Master, what's good? How you doing today? He says, thoughts on Nick Bosa returning? Yeah, Nick Bosa's been rehabbing in Florida. So he's away from the team right now. Shanahan did say that Bosa is expected to return for training camp. And, if it were up to me, I could see Nick Bosa starting the season. I wouldn't have him play any preseason games, Nick Bosa, I don't think. But I would have him start. He just wouldn't be playing 100% of defensive snaps. If I had my druthers, I would have Nick Bosa play, maybe start off playing, 50% of the snaps and then slowly ratchet it up week by week. Because, I just want him to take his time coming back from that torn ACL. Nick Bosa is, the best pass rusher we have on the team, but you'd hate to see him get hurt again. And you don't want to rush him back. Let's see. It's like Damien says, yeah, great minds think alike. He says, put Bosa on load management to the playoffs. Yeah, I agree, man. Like, he's not, I don't think he should be playing 100% of the snaps during the season. I just don't think you should put that on Bosa, especially since he's coming back from that torn ACL. If there's 60 defensive snaps, maybe he should start off playing, 20 to 25, just starting off, and then slowly, put more on his plate. Looks like Sean says Nick Bosa, by our reports, look strong. Yep, I've seen the reports. I've seen him working out. He does look strong, and he's looking good. He's looking like he's primed for the season, and he's ready to come back. But I think we should, just take it easy. Just like with Jeff Wilson Jr. when he comes back, take it easy. There's no need to rush him back. It's like OYG says we exposed Lamar in 2019. He ain't fooling nobody. I mean, he's still a pretty good quarterback. He can definitely, obviously, do a lot of things with his legs. But yeah, he's got to get more accurate. But also, I think the Ravens, they got to give him another target. I think they got Sammy Watkins now. He's a solid receiver. They got Hollywood Brown. They got Mark Andrews, the tight end. They got a good running game. So, yeah, I think if they just continue getting weapons for Lamar at the wide receiver position, I think it'll definitely help Lamar. CG Ruthless, what's good? Appreciate you coming into the stream, man. Looks like 49ers Ultimate Report says Patriots and Chargers have more cap space than the Niners. Yeah, and that's definitely doesn't help in the Julio Jones, trade negotiations. But, the 49ers can restructure some contracts, John Jay. I mean, they can restructure, Eric Armstead's contract, maybe even Jimmy G's contract. I would definitely do those two restructures to make a salary cap space for Julio Jones. Or I would even do that for OBJ. OBJ is coming off the torn ACL, so I don't know how his rehab is going. I haven't really heard anything about him this offseason, so but we'll see what happens. Let's see. But yeah, and I was also talking about Fred Warner's presser. He was asked several questions in the presser. Last I spoke about, he was talking about D'Amico Ryans and how he's a passionate defensive coordinator. And a reporter also asked Fred Warner an interesting question. He asked Fred Warner, did he think about missing OTAs due to not getting a contract extension? And we see that often in the NFL, right? Players are in the last year of their deal. The players might hold out of training camp to try, to get a contract extension signed. We've seen Ezekiel Elliott do it. Hell, we've seen Le'Veon Bell sit out a whole season. I mean, Le'Veon Bell, you guys remember that? Le'Veon Bell sit out the whole season, which definitely was a mistake because his career has not been the same since he, left the Steelers. But Fred Warner said that, that did not cross his mind that he would skip OTAs. As far as the contract extension, it's really out of Fred Warner's control. It's up to Fred Warner's agent and the 49ers brass. And Fred Warner wants to control what he can control, and that's him contributing to the team at the OTAs and getting better day by day. Fred was also asked, are things back to normal now we have OTAs? And Fred said yes. It was good to have things back to normal, especially so the rookies can get into OTAs. They can get under an NFL workout program. They can learn the playbook with other guys who already know it. So it's great that the guys are back. We got 85 guys at the OTA, so that's excellent to hear. And yeah, that's what stood out to me from the Shanahan, Fred Warner, George Kittle, and Jimmy G presser. So what do you guys think about the press conference? Anything you guys learned from it? So yeah, I appreciate everyone coming through. I appreciate if you leave a like, leave a thumbs up for the video. everyone watching on the Spotlight Sports Network. I appreciate you. But yeah, I just wanted to hop on real quick, talk about, the most recent news with the Niners. What are you guys' thoughts on Mike McGlinchey? I know some people in here were really, disappointed in Mike McGlinchey's performance last year. It definitely was not a great performance by any stretch. He definitely needs to get better as far as pass blocking, but he has put on a little bit of weight in the offseason. Mike McGlinchey has. So that's a sign that, either I don't know if the 49ers told him to do that. I don't know if Mike McGlinchey took it upon himself to do that, but hopefully, because he was getting bull rushed a lot last year. And he's got to get low to his pads. He's a big guy, but in the trenches, that's where football's won and lost, faithful. In the trenches, the low man wins. So maybe McGlinchey's getting lower in his stance, putting on more weight should help him in the pass blocking scenarios. But that's definitely going to be interesting to see. Mike McGlinchey. The 49ers did pick up Mike McGlinchey's 5th-year option. He will be making $10 million per year. And we'll see what happens next year. Will the 49ers re-sign Mike McGlinchey to a long-term contract extension? I would be surprised because we already, backed up the Brinks truck for Trent Williams, the big silver back. Trent Williams is the highest paid left tackle in the NFL. So I'd be surprised if, McGlinchey signs long-term with the Niners, but you never know. We'll see. It looks like Sean T says the Falcons probably don't want to trade within their conference, right? Exactly. Yeah. I'd be surprised if the Falcons traded Julio to a team in the NFC conference. I'd be surprised by that. Only because, they don't want to play Julio in the future. But also the Falcons, I'm sure they want to get the most compensation they can get for Julio. But I think, their number one is probably, okay, we want to get the most compensation, but also we want to trade him out of the conference. So, but that makes sense. It looks like Bay Area Baller agrees with me. He says Big Mike needs to get better at pass protection. Yep, I agree. He was getting bull rushed a lot. And, it was definitely a disappointing year. But hopefully he can get better, Bay Area Baller. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with when Joe Staley was on the left side anchoring that line. Mike McGlinchey was playing pretty well. And last year he had he had a down year. So hopefully he will bounce back this season. That's all we can really hope for. Looks like we got DeAndre Hopkins in the chat. What's good? Good luck to you and your Arizona Cardinals this year. We're definitely going to have a rivalry. I can't wait to play the Arizona Cardinals. He's got a great question. DeAndre Hopkins does. This has to be the real DeAndre. It just has to be. He says, who's going to cover me? Well, we got Jason Verrett. We got Emmanuel Mosley. That's who's going to cover DeAndre Hopkins. But that's going to be interesting because y'all got AJ Green. We'll see what he has left in the tank. Cardinals got JJ Watt. They still got Chandler Jones, and they got Kyler Murray. He can do it all. So the Cardinals will definitely be a difficult team this year. Shanti Uber, are you worried about the injury to Wilson? Niners look like they knew about this injury prior to the draft by drafting 2 running backs. I mean, that's an interesting point, but the news just came out. Call me naive, but I don't think if Wilson got hurt before the draft, I'm sure that news would have came out. I mean, you would think, but I think the 49ers in this draft, at least it told me that they want to get back to smash mouth football, Sean T. They want to get back to that smash mouth football. They want to run the ball down the opponent's throat, 30, 35 times a game, control the time of possession. And that's what this draft showed. By getting the 2 running backs, by getting the 2 offensive linemen, you have to fortify John Lynch in the offseason, fortify the offensive line by re-signing Trent, by signing Alex Mack, and and by drafting the younger talent on the offensive line in this year's draft. So we had to protect Jimmy G, and then we also have to create holes in the running game. So I would say I'm not worried about the injury to Wilson because we have other players in the running back room. But hopefully he can come back from this injury 100%, and hopefully he doesn't rush, That's what I'm hoping. Hopefully, Wilson doesn't rush. Hopefully he'll have fresh legs for that November, December playoff push. Looks like DeAndre says Julio is coming to Arizona. I doubt it. I hope not, man. I mean, y'all already got you already got yourself. You got AJ Green. I think you still got Christian Kirk. Do you still have Andy Isabella? I mean, y'all got weapons on that Cardinals offense. I definitely have weapons. I don't think you'll have enough balls around if Julio comes there. But yeah, we'll see what comes to fruition. DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, I hear that the Falcons want to trade Julio, and if they do, it's going to be to the AFC. So last I checked, the Cardinals ain't in the AFC. So we'll see what happens. DeAndre also said, I talked to my GM. He going to trade for Julio. Well, if that trade comes to fruition, then you'll have to come back on my show, DeAndre Hopkins. And I appreciate you hitting that thumbs up button, DeAndre, on the stream. Hopefully you enjoying the show. And make sure you hit that subscribe button to your boy, Jay in the Bay. Looks like Damien says, I think Trey Lance needs to request Steve Young to help develop him. Kyle is good at schemes, but doesn't develop quarterbacks. Woo-wee. Hot diggity dog, Damien. I know you've mentioned this before, and, Damien has a great point. Has Kyle Shanahan developed quarterbacks since he's been with the 49ers? I think that's a valid point. That's a valid question. What, the first quarterback was that who started in Shanahan's first year? His name is escaping me, but he wasn't that good anyway. He wasn't good. I mean, I forgot his name, but he wasn't that good. He got benched. But the Niners traded for Jimmy G. Jimmy G looked good the first 5 games with the Niners. Jimmy G did, he was integral in getting us. He was an integral part of the team in helping us get to the Super Bowl. So you could say, well, Shanahan helped develop Jimmy G, right? I think you could say that, Damien. Now, trading up for C.J. Beathard, that shouldn't have transpired. Signing Nick Mullins, those weren't good, depth pieces behind the quarterback, behind Jimmy G. You could say he didn't develop those players, but you could only do so much, right? And a lot of the times when Mullins and C.J. Beathard were in the game, there were a lot of other injuries, on the offensive side of the ball. So no doubt, though, no doubt that Kyle Shanahan is an excellent play caller, play designer. But I would be really surprised if the Niners say, hey, Steve Young, can you help mentor, help guide, help coach Steve Young? Because we do already have a quarterback coach, Damien, Scangrello. Scangrello, what I've heard, is an excellent quarterback coach, and he and Shanahan will, mold Trey Lance into the best quarterback he can be. Awesomeness Sports, what's good? I appreciate you coming through. How you doing today? Good luck to your Washington football team this year. It's like OYG says Verrett could cover Hopkins 100. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that matchup. Verrett had an excellent year last year. I would say it's definitely a Pro Bowl season, and I hope Verrett can repeat, and hopefully he can stay healthy. It's like DeAndre says, what would you do if the Cardinals get Julio Jones, by the way? I mean, it's nothing really we can do. I would just wonder, how is Kyler going to get the ball to all those players? I guess that would be a great problem to have, right? That'd be a great problem to have. How do I get the ball to all these wide receivers, man? That would be a good problem to have. But yeah, that would be incredible because there's been a lot of influx of talent to the NFC West. You know, J.J. Watt, A.J. Green, Carlos Dunlap, Kerry Hyder. Who did Seattle see? And the Rams got, of course, the Rams got Matt Stafford. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'll still be confident with the Niners, even if the NFC West team got Julio. I would still be confident in my Niners for sure. Damian Lee says, don't forget, Kello is we are gonna light him up. Hey, put some respect on Kello Witherspoon's name, Damian. That's funny. Hey, Kello was good. Kello was good in the Super Bowl year before he got hurt. He was good. And when he came back, I don't know if he came back too soon. He lost his confidence. But Kello wasn't the same after he came back from that injury he had. And then even last year was up and down. Some games he looked solid, some games. So I wasn't surprised that he didn't come back to the 49ers. But, you know, a corner's best friend is a defensive pass rush, is a defensive line and a pass rush. And the Seahawks got Kerry Hyder, and they also got Carlos Dunlap. So that's a pretty good 1-2 combination at the edge rush position for the Seahawks. So we'll see how Kello does. We'll see. But it's no doubt that the Niners know him for sure. Livy's World, hot diggity dog. What's good, Jay? Thanks for coming through Livy's World. Thanks for supporting the Jay and the Bay YouTube channel. Make sure everyone, I appreciate you hit that thumbs up button in the chat if you're enjoying the stream. Also, make sure you already subscribe to Jay and the Bay. 49ers Ultimate Report says, I don't think that's the real DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, I know that. I know that, John Jay. I know someone just made up a YouTube channel with DeAndre Hopkins. I was just playing along with him, John Jay. I was just playing along. Let's see. Alvaro Acevedo, the first time I've seen you in the chat. I appreciate you coming through to the stream. Now, if you're watching on Jay and the Bay, I appreciate it. And if you're watching on the Spotlight Sports Network, appreciate it as well. Hope you're enjoying the show. Alvaro says 49ers good on wide receiver with or without Julio now. I respect your opinion, but if you, and obviously you can't do this, but if you could guarantee me that all our wide receivers will stay healthy, I'd be like, okay, I think we're good enough. Yeah. But if one of those guys goes down, if the show goes down, or if Debo goes down, or if Kittle goes down, the passing attack will be in trouble. Richie James, he's solid. Dwan Jennings, Jalen Hurd, unproven. Travis Benjamin, Mohamed Sanu. What do they have left? I just feel like we need another established veteran playmaker. This offense took off when we traded for Emmanuel Sanders. And right now we don't have an Emmanuel Sanders in the building. I don't think so. So I appreciate your perspective. Thanks for tuning in. But hopefully we continue to to get better in that field. Looks like DeAndre Hopkins, he's spilling the tea. You can't be talking about your teammates like this, DeAndre. He says, Christian Kirk, Andy are trash. I will rework my contract so Julio can come. Now, I did hear you say that. I did hear you say that, DeAndre, you would rework your contract for Julio to come through, and that's very generous of you. But you can't be talking about your teammates like that. Christian Kirk and Andy, they might see this, man. They might see Jay and the Bay on YouTube. You can't be talking about them like that. Looks like OYG says, I'm going to cover Hopkins. Man, that's funny. That's too funny. Looks like Sean T says, Brian Hoyer, 2017. Yeah, that's who it was. Yep. So when Shanahan was hired as a head coach and John Lynch was hired as the GM, thanks for letting me know, Sean T. I forgot it was Brian Hoyer. But yeah, what what can you do with Brian Hoyer? I mean, if Bill Walsh was here, could he have coached Brian Hoyer to a better record than what Shanahan did? I mean, I don't know. I mean, Brian Hoyer he's basically been a career backup player. Brian Hoyer, it's just point blank. So I don't know. Can you really fault Shanahan for not developing Brian Hoyer? I mean, you can only do what you can do, and so, but yeah, thanks for letting me know that, Shanti. Alvaro says, what rookie jersey do you buy first from this 2021 class, Jay, from the Bay? It's got to be Trey Area. It's got to be Trey Lance because he's a future quarterback. For me, it would be Trey Lance. Next, I'm not sure. But for me, I think no doubt, without hesitation, is Trey Lance. What rookie jersey would everyone buy in the chat? If you could buy a jersey from this year's draft class, what jersey would it be? For me, it'd be Trey Lance for sure. Looks like DeAndre, he's continuing to spill that tea. He says Dunlop injured Murray and cost us the playoffs. Time to get revenge. Yeah, Murray and the Cardinals were looking good. Y'all was looking good. Y'all beat us. We got you guys back. But yeah, after Murray suffered that shoulder injury, he wasn't really the same, I'm sure he toughed it out, but you could just tell he just wasn't the same player, Kyler Murray. But, hopefully everyone stays healthy. And looks like DeAndre says it is the real D-Hop. LOL. Yeah, sure it is. Well, I appreciate you gracing us with your presence. Looks like Alvaro says Julio is a beast. Don't get me wrong. Number one, we needed a quarterback to throw last year to a wide receiver. Yeah, I mean, Julio's definitely still got it. I mean, if you look at Julio's stats, obviously last year he was hurt, but the 3 previous seasons before that, he looked like a Pro Bowl, borderline all-pro wide receiver. So Julio Jones definitely still has it. And last year, obviously Jimmy got hurt. Mullins and Beathard, they just couldn't cut it. And that's why I think Lynch and Shanahan did an excellent job in reworking and adding talent to the quarterback room. Not only drafting Trey Lance, adding Nate Sudfeld, Josh Rosen, and we still have Josh Johnson as well. So it's a crowded quarterback room. Alvaro says, will Jalen Hurd have a breakout year 2021? I don't want to say it. Y'all already know what I'm going to say. It's, it's about the health with Jalen. I mean, and that's why part of me, I don't want to depend on Jalen. You might ask why. Well, he's been hurt the last 2 years. He hasn't played a single snap for the red and gold faithful. So if Hurd is healthy, plays well, he should be icing on the cake. We shouldn't. I don't think at this point we can depend on Hurd. I don't think we can. That's why I feel like we still need to get another receiver. We'll see what Austin Walter does. We'll see about Richie James. But that is, we need to get an established vet playmaker, similar to Emmanuel Sanders. 49ers OTA Report says Jay in the Bay always keeps it 100 with his content. Of course. That's the only way to be. Looks like DeAndre says sometimes you got to be honest. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you right now, the NFC West is the toughest division in the NFL. I appreciate your honesty, DeAndre. And it's going to be, I can't wait till the games start. I can't wait till September can't come around any sooner. Because I think every team in the NFC West could probably win at least 10 games, I would say. Barring any major injuries like the quarterback position, I think every team in the NFC West could probably win at least 10 games. Isaac V, what's good? Appreciate you coming through to the stream. It's the first time I've seen your name in the chat. Hopefully you enjoying the Jay in the Bay YouTube experience. And Isaac says, what's good? First time on the channel. Thank the algorithm. Exactly. Appreciate you. He says, what are your thoughts on the 49ers running back room? Now, before the draft, excellent question. Before the draft, I felt like the running back room was stacked. We already had, Mostert, had Wilson Jr., had Gallman, had Hasty, and I felt like, okay, that's a pretty good, that's a pretty good rotation of running backs. So I was surprised that we drafted the 2 running backs in the draft. Good thing we did, because Wilson Jr., of course, is going to be out for the next 4 to 6 months. But yeah, I still love the running back room. Shanahan's not going to use any bell cow running backs. He's going to have multiple running backs up on game day. I don't think any running back is going to have more than 20 carries in the game. I'd be surprised by that. I think Mostert will probably get the bulk of the carries, but I think we'll definitely see Trey Sermon. We'll definitely see Wayne Gallman. I think those are probably the 3 favorites right now. But Elijah Mitchell, he ran a 4.3 in college. Maybe he could contribute on the kick return. We definitely need help in that department. I don't remember the last time we had an excellent kick return or a punt returner. Jet McKinnon last year definitely wasn't cutting it. That's for sure. Shanti Uber says Trey Sermon. Yeah, I'm excited for Trey Sermon. He's definitely going to get an opportunity to shine, and I can't wait to see. Oh, and you're probably talking about the jersey. Yeah, so you'd want a Trey Sermon jersey. All right, I hear you. And looks like Alvaro says he would want a Trey Lance jersey. All right, that's cool. And Shanti says he really hopes Jalen Hurd can break out this year. Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping to, but it's, if you're asking me am I confident that Jalen Hurd will be healthy by training camp and he will contribute in the regular season? Honestly, I'd just be surprised because we've never seen it. We haven't seen him do it. And unfortunately, he suffered back-to-back injuries. But there's no doubt he's got the talent, he's got the athleticism, he's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got everything. But unfortunately, he just hasn't been able to stay healthy. So, and I'm not even saying it's his fault. It's just, unfortunately, that's just the card he's been dealt. Looks like Alvaro says he wants the Talanoa Hufanga jersey. All right. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see what he brings to the table, and that will be a nice jersey. And whatever jersey, if I get a new jersey this year, it's definitely got to have that 75th anniversary patch. That's definitely unique. And what else? What other jerseys would you guys get based on this rookie draft class? Let a brother know. Y'all know it in them comments. Let's see. Isaac says, what kind of offer would get the Niners' attention regarding a Fred Warner trade? What kind of offer could the Niners not refuse? Well, if I was the Niners brass, there's a few players that I would not trade under any circumstances. Fred Warner would be one. George Kittle would be one. Nick Bosa would be one. Those are probably the 3 players on offense that there's no way I would trade. Probably Trent Williams too. I mean, especially since we just signed him to that huge contract. So those are definitely the 4 players I probably would not trade under any circumstance. And I don't think the Niners should trade Fred Warner. Now it's funny you mentioned that. Now when Deshaun Watson, a few months back, when the trade rumors were out and about Deshaun Watson, I would definitely was interested in Deshaun Watson, but I would only want to trade draft picks for him. I wouldn't want to give up any of our players for him because Fred Warner is proving that he's the best middle linebacker in the NFL, and a first round pick for Fred Warner. I have a hard time believing a first round pick is going to be better than Fred Warner at this stage of his career. So, yeah, I don't think the Niners would trade Fred Warner. I think he's going to be re-signed this offseason, hopefully, and he'll be one of the highest paid middle linebackers in the NFL. Damian Lee says, would you cut Josh Rosen and Nate Sudfeld and bring back Alex Smith out of retirement? I would say no. Alex Smith, he had an excellent career. It sucks that he had the injury with the Washington football team that pretty much derailed his career because, prior to that injury, he would probably still be the starting quarterback for Washington football team. So definitely sucks that his career was derailed, but At this stage of his career, I mean, I think he retired for a reason. I think, the leg is preventing him from continuing his NFL career. And I think that's the reason why. It's just because he can still walk on the leg. Yeah, he can still have that normal functionability with his leg, but as far as playing on the NFL field, I think, he retired for a reason. So no, I would not bring Alex Smith out of retirement. Let's see. Alvaro says Ted Ginn Jr. was our last good returner. That special teams player is very important. That field game is big in this game of inches. No, I totally agree. Yeah, Ted Ginn Jr. was definitely a good returner. It's just been too long. I mean, it's been way too long. Dante Pettis was drafted. Dante Pettis was good in college, but for some reason he didn't translate to the NFL. Jed McKinnon, he just didn't have the burst anymore. So I'm eager to see who's going to be the Niners kick return, punt return. I definitely don't want it to be one of our starting receivers. I don't want to see Brandon Ayuk back there. I don't want to see Debo back there. If it was one of the young running backs we had, I'd be okay with that. But yeah, special teams is very important. This game is all about turnovers. It's all about field position, and special teams plays a key part in the field position for sure. Looks like Shanti said we saw what Jalen can do, but it was preseason. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It was preseason. Like, yeah, we saw what he could do. I just want to see it, in the regular season with the real snaps, So that's what I want to see. Let's see it when it really counts. Looks like Tommy says, "What's good, brother? What's good, Tommy? Appreciate you coming through." Looks like Tommy has a response for D-Hop. Tommy says, "D-Hop, Verrett is your daddy." Looks like Isaac says, "Start Sermon and allow his physicality to tire and fatigue the defense. Then let Mostert come in and break their will with that big play speed. Sprinkle in Debo, Gallman / Wilson, keeping backs healthy." Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I hadn't really thought of that with starting Sermon, but you mentioned Wilson, but unfortunately Wilson, he got hurt. He tore his meniscus. The news broke yesterday on that, so he'll be out 4 to 6 months. That is Jeff Wilson Jr. So that's very unfortunate, but I have a feeling unless Mostert gets hurt or Shanahan feels that Sermon or Gallman are better than Mostert, I don't see Mostert not starting, unless he gets traded or something like that, which I don't want. I don't want to see Mostert get traded, but I like your thinking because, Shanahan will use multiple backs in this system. He will use Sermon. He will use Gallman. Obviously, he'll use Mostert. And, either Elijah Mitchell or Jermichael Hasty will round out that running back room. So looks like Isaac says Mostert is not a bell cow. We need to keep him fresh. No, I agree. And that's why, I don't think Mostert would get more than 10 to 15 touches a game. And I think the other carries will be divided along, Sermon, Gallman, maybe Jermichael Hasty or Elijah Mitchell. So, yeah, and we definitely got to keep Mostert fresh, and I think the Shanahan will do that by using multiple backs. So, I could see 3 to 4 running backs up on game day, including Juszczyk, or maybe even 5, including Juszczyk. And, a lot of the running backs will be able to get in, and because it's most important to keep Mostert fresh, because Mostert, there's no doubt, Mostert is a home run hitter for sure. Once Mostert gets past the defense, most players can't catch up to Mostert, one of the fastest players in the NFL. But I appreciate everyone coming through. Let me know if you guys had any more questions, comments. I just wanted to talk about what I thought stood out from the presser yesterday with Shanahan, Kittle, Warner, and Jimmy G. So I went over that. Also, some of the news about, let's see. There was some news about, let's see, about Nick Bosa. So he is rehabbing in Florida. Nick Bosa, though, is expected to be ready for training camp, but right now he's not there because he's rehabbing in Florida. Weston Richburg, the 49ers center, he will be retiring after June 1st. And Mike McGlinchey has put on weight during the offseason, and that's good to see. Looks like Alvaro says, really good show and way to involve the fans, Jay in the Bay. Great job. Got me subscribed. I appreciate you subscribing to your boy. I appreciate you, man. And yeah, that's what this show is all about. You know, every fan is always welcome to join in. But of course, we cater to the red and gold, of course. And yeah, I appreciate you coming through. Appreciate your subscription. And I can't wait to do this again. CG Ruthless. He says, great stream. I appreciate you for coming through, CG. We definitely got to link up. So yeah. But yeah, I appreciate everyone coming through to the stream. Make sure you stay tuned in to Jay in the Bay, YouTube, Twitter, IG. There go the links right there. I appreciate it. Make sure you leave a thumbs up for the stream. And stay tuned in to Jay in the Bay on YouTube for all 49ers news. And I sprinkle in just a Scotia NFL news, especially when the season starts. I definitely plan on doing live streams, like for instance on the Sunday night, Monday night prime time. On those games, I definitely will be doing a live stream like an hour before the show, or excuse me, an hour before the game, an hour after the game. And of course, I talked about the Niners, but I also love to watch the other teams in the NFL, of course. So for those primetime games, you can definitely tune in to Jay in the Bay. You can give your thoughts on the matchups. I think the first matchup, the first Sunday night game, actually, I think the first Thursday night game, I want to say is Dallas and Tampa Bay. I think that's the first game. So most likely I will do a stream for that. But there's no doubt Sunday night, Monday night, you can definitely tune in. I will be talking about those games an hour before the game, hour after the game, doing live reactions of the games. And of course, for the 49ers, I will be doing, a pre-game. So like for 1:00 kickoffs, I'll be having probably a live stream at 11 or 12 where the 49er fans, the faithful, the Niner Empire can talk about the game. What are the keys to the game? And then obviously after the game, we'll have a post-game show and we'll talk about, the outcome of the game. And yeah, that's what you have to look forward to Jay in the Bay. And once again, I appreciate everyone for coming through from watching on Jay in the Bay YouTube and also on that good old Spotlight Sports Network. And I'll see you guys real soon. And thanks for watching your boy, Jay in the Bay. See you guys in the next one real soon.